Well, hello everyone. It's absolutely brilliant to be with you all today. If you are watching live, welcome to watching us live. If you're watching us on catch up, welcome to watching us on catch up as well. This is indeed Beards, Bibles and Brews. I am Tom and this hairy chap is Simon. Hey Simon.
Hey Tom, how are you doing?
I'm all right, mate, but we lied to everyone last time we were on. So we said that we were going to be on the last Thursday of every month at 2 o'clock. But this is indeed the first Thursday of the month, still at 2 o'clock. So we've sort of semi-lied to everyone.
We haven't committed like sin upon sin, just one commandment, really.
All it takes, Simon, it just takes one, and that's it, you see. But we thought it would be fab if we were able to do a little bit of an Easter thing. So that's why we delayed it that extra week. So today is Maundy Thursday that we are doing this. But why do they call it Maundy, Simon? What does it mean?
Now, you see, had I known you were going to ask me this, I would have looked it up and had a good answer for you. I believe it's a historical thing. I've got some vague recollection of it being to do with Maundy money, which was money that was given out by the crown. I don't know. I'm betting you that our guest will have a better understanding.
I reckon we're going to ask him when he comes on. More importantly, I'll tell you what we do know about. We don't know about Maundy Thursday. What else is it today, Simon? The 1st of April.
It is April Fool's Day.
We know about that, mate, don't we? We know all about April Fool's Day.
Very appropriate for us. And in fact, some of our viewers will remember that this channel used to be Fools for Christ, which was your original lockdown title. So I feel like it's part of our DNA, really. The distinctiveness that we have as a particular Christian YouTube viewing experience of the foolishness.
Just foolishness throughout all of what we do.
Yeah. I think that pretty much nails it on the head. I'm happy with that. I'm all right with that. Yeah.
This is Beards, Bibles and Brews. We have beards. There are Bibles arrayed in splendor all over. What are you drinking today? What is your brew? Do you have a brew, Simon?
I do. I have a brew. Now, because it is Easter, the time where God has anointed that we consume chocolate, I have obviously gone with a mocha this time, which is a coffee and chocolate blend. It's like a hot chocolate with caffeine, a hot chocolate with kick, and it's very good. So, and what about you, my friend?
Well, do you know what? In similar vein with the theme of chocolate, I am actually drinking a tea today rather than a coffee-based substance. And I am drinking, I've not tried it yet, so I'm going to try it in a second. Okay. I am drinking chocolate, vanilla, and what? Rooibos. R-O-I-B-O-S.
Yeah, Rooibos.
Rooibos. There we go. I don't know what a Rooibos is, but chocolate, Rooibos, and vanilla. So there we go. And I'm going to try it. I've not tried it yet. So are you ready?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Horrible. Horrible. Nikki was just asking, have we done any April Fool's things today? Giving myself that drink there. That's about all I've done in terms of April.
There you go.
That's just horrid.
It's not
the drink it though, because it's got a little bit of chocolate in it. Yeah. Simon, we don't know why Maundy Thursday. We do know why Fools. Do you have any fun, interesting facts about beers, Bibles, and brews that you do know of?
Well, it's funny you should ask me that, Tom. Amazing. Actually, just
I've been holding on to these for months.
I know. I just happen to have some facts to hand. As you may be aware, I am a fan of the useless fact. So here are 3 useless facts about beards, 3 useless facts about Bibles, and 3 useless facts about brews. So here we go. We'll start with beards. Did you know that in the Victorian era, doctors believed that a good thick beard could help trap any harmful particles that might cause illness, and so often would prescribe the growing of a beard?
Even to their female patients?
I have absolutely no idea. The level of my research was very surfacey. I have not gone into this in any depth whatsoever. I'm going to presume not, but I stand to be corrected by a Victorian era scholar, as I know that many of them do tune in to watch us regularly each month.
Well, you know, I have a slight beard. You have a big beard.
Yeah.
Neither of us has had coronavirus. So
that is true. Neither of us has had coronavirus. I feel
truth in that.
Maybe.
That one.
Maybe. Excellent. The longest beard that has been recorded since such measurements were taken, and again, the paucity of my research doesn't tell me when this started, but the longest beard was grown by, and I'm going to have to read this off my screen, Hans Langseth, and it measured. How long do you think the longest beard measured? Let's just throw this out.
Now, are we talking a metric or an imperial measurement?
Well, I have both. So
wow. I'm going to go for, I think, maybe 12 meters. That's
gosh, that is very long. That's far too long. 5.3 meters, which is about 17 feet. And there's if you Google him, there's a brilliant picture of him sitting with it all curled up over his shoulders.
So he never got ill then, if we take the first and the second tip together.
So no wonder he had such a long time to grow that beard.
Yeah.
And here you go. When Otto the Great, and please don't ask me to tell you who he was because I didn't look that up either. When he had something really important to decree, he would decree it and swear an oath by his beard, which I think is something we should definitely be bringing back. I'm going to start swearing things by my beard.
I like that.
By my beard, I declare that those 3 facts are done. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
3 facts about Bibles. These are slightly more interesting, I think. This one is actually 2 facts in one.
We'll be the judge of that, Simon.
I've kind of cheated here. I think we all are aware, or it's something we've all heard, that the Bible is the most sold book in history. In fact, it's consistently outsells every other book, and so the New York Times won't include it on its bestseller list because it would just be at the top every time. But did you also know that the Bible is suspected to be the most commonly stolen book as well? So as well as selling copies, it's the most stolen book, and it's
I've nicked all of mine, so
that is, I'm again pretty sure
I just go around churches and just I'll have that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the commandments as well. Thou shalt steal. I'm pretty sure that's in there. Talking of which, and this is not one of the facts I've written down. Did you know there was a Bible printed back a few hundred years ago where they had a misprint, and in the 10 Commandments they said "Thou shalt commit adultery" rather than "Thou shalt not." And there are only 9 of these Bibles in existence still. It's called the Sinner's Bible, and if you get a copy of it, it's you sell it, you'd never have to work a day in your life.
It reminds me of the Blackadder episode where he's got his auntie over, and they've got that cult where they hop around everywhere because in their version of the Bible it says the greatest of these is hop.
Yeah.
So they spend their time hopping around. Yeah.
I love that. Talking words, how many words do you think are in the Bible?
I had a book that told you all random facts about the Bible. It was called "There Are No Cats in the Bible," but I don't have the book anymore, and therefore I am going to guess 720,000 words.
Oh, that's pretty good. So in the original language, so I'm told, there are 611,000 words. The King James Bible is 783,137. The NIV is 727,969, and the ESV is 757,439.
Well, I'm happy with my guess.
Yeah.
Ballpark.
That's pretty good. Yeah. That's a pretty good guess. Okay, and as a final, and I think this is an interesting fact, nobody else will, but did you know without the Bible, as you can see, I'm a big book fan. I know you are as well.
Yeah, I buy them. I don't often read them. I don't know. To be a big fan, do you have to read them as well?
Well, I don't know. I think I remember one of our lecturers said that you don't necessarily have to read all your books. You just have to have familiarity with them. So you can take and make of that what you will. We wouldn't have modern printing if we didn't have the Bible. So the printing press, the modern printing press, was originally created by Johannes Gutenberg, and the first thing he printed, was the Gutenberg Bible, and that was around 1455. And again, that's another one. If you happen to find one in a second-hand shop, snatch it up because they are worth millions and millions. Right, by my beard, I declare those 3 facts are done. Let's move on to the brews. So final fact. Coffee was discovered, as we believe it, in around the 9th century by some shepherds who noticed the effect that the coffee berries had on their goats. So when the goats ate the berries, they would become hyperactive. So a local monk took those berries, brewed it into a drink, and couldn't sleep all night, and thus was the industry of coffee making and cultivation begun. It's a good fact, I think.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So here's a question for you. Which country do you think consumes the most coffee each year?
Oh, I think I'm supposed to say the US, but I don't want to say the US. I'm going to go for something like Cambodia.
Oh, you see, you're a bit too far away, but you're on the right track. It's not America. It is Finland. Really? Finland consumes the most coffee, which surprised me because my understanding is Finland's quite small.
But it's cold there, though, isn't it? So you'd always want more drink.
Yeah, it's really cold, so I imagine that would be why. Okay, and finally,
I'm boring, so they need to keep themselves awake.
Well, I don't know. I've never met anybody from Finland. It looks very pretty. That's all I can say. Pretty and cold.
There we go.
Here's the final fact. This is exciting. This is an exciting fact.
Roll.
This is all hangs on this. Globally, we consume around 2.25 billion cups of coffee every day. And when I say we, I don't mean just you and I, not just us. I mean the whole world. 2.25 billion cups of coffee a day. Wow. So there you go. There are some facts about beers, Bibles, and brews. And by my beard, you can take those to the bank.
By the great beard of Simon.
By the great beard.
There we go. Well, facts, and things written down, Simon, is, in fact, that leads me brilliantly. I'm going to segue what I was going to say, and this is going to segue us fantastically into introducing our guest for today. We've already highlighted a couple of needs to get him on to clarify some random things to us about facts we don't know. But writing books, it's never been something that I've ever wanted to do. And they say, there's a saying, is that everybody's got one book in them, but I think mine would be one of those Ladybird flip books, or that do you know, like That's Not My Kitten, Its Paws Are Too Fuzzy. One of those books. That's Not My Beard, It's Not Got grey in it. Like I can maybe do one of them. Maybe that's the book I've got inside me. This person he's one of those people. We had someone on last time who was just prevalent at doing so many things, and this guy does so much. He's just a wonderfully gifted minister of Christ. Some say he is the finest vicar to ever come out of Trinity College, Bristol, until you yourself trained there, Simon, and took that from him. Some would say he is the TikTok vicar, and he is also the author of the upcoming book, Creation to Crib, and it's about that thing we're going to talk to him about today. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on our friend David Sims. Hello, David. It's fabulous to have you today, mate. Great,
David.
To see you.
Thanks for the glowing introduction. I didn't quite know who you were talking about until I appeared. So that's good.
I wrote a book called that. Someone's stolen it. David, I mentioned a little bit ago that you are a TikTok master, and over this past year, as everyone has turned their eyes towards interactive media, I've definitely seen you've come into your own, but. It's not always straight sailing, is it? And if anybody ever caught the last ever Fools for Christ we did, there was an outtakes bit where Wonderful I said, "So David, do you and your family pray?" And he went, "What?" that definitely made it on there. And it's not always straight sailing, as we know, when it comes to doing interactive things. And I've been watching my little signal bar at the top here blinking down between red and orange all the way through. So no doubt we're going to have some tech difficulties in a bit. But I want to share this with you all. Here is David Sims just showing us how not to do it when recording a quick 2-minute video.
Every day in Holy Week, we're going to be short reading from John chapter 12, verses 12 to 14. Let's start again.
Did you ever get it right, David? Did you ever manage to do it and get it right after all those takes, or did you just give up and not bother?
Well, I'm running the race, and I finished the race, and I managed, I think, in the end, to do it. All it was a daily 2-minute reading and reflection every day of Holy Week. And you know what? I'm glad I bothered, but it's harder work than it should have been. But yeah, we did it, I think.
Now, David, you are a fully knowing, and you were nodding away as with knowledge when we talked about us not knowing what Maunday Thursday is. You are a fully dress-wearing, child-dunking, sold-out vicar of the established church of our fair realm. So do tell us, why Maundy Thursday? That's the best introduction that a vicar will ever get, I'm sure, and that's a good summary. Why Maundy Thursday?
Well, first of all, I'm glad you know your place. Secondly, and how much I love wearing robes. So the word Maundy comes from a French word which is maund, which means command. And that probably comes from where Jesus commanded us to wash each other's feet, or said to his disciples to wash feet. So that's a good guess at where it came from.
I like that. See, my kids were asking why tomorrow's Monday, and I said it's not. It's Thursday. They said yeah, but it's Monday, Thursday.
Oh,
and I see where they were going with that. I was like, no, Monday. And then they asked me why, and I was like, I have no idea. And I resisted the urge to Google it because I wanted to ask today, and now we know. But David, how much do you know about churches?
Yeah.
This is the real question, and I'm sure this is the question on everybody's lips. If we had a Baptist v Anglican church off, who would be able to name that church? So are you ready? So I am. In fact, you know what? No expense spared. Are you ready for this? Not only have I got a game for you, I have got the world's best and fantastically produced and made intro to any game in existence ever. I'm gonna play it because it's amazing. Are you ready? You got to name that church. Oh, I'm so happy with that. You've got to name that church. Brilliant.
Honestly, I'm going to set that as my ringtone for you on my phone now. So every time you call me, it's going to say, you've got to name that church. Oh,
just once more. Hang on, I'm going to stick it up. I'm going to put us all on mute so there's no sound coming back through. Are you ready? You got to name that church.
beautiful.
It's a proper
spared in the production value of this show. Right, on with our game. Right, so the first one I'm going to show this picture. You'll both be able to see the picture. Simon is going to tell us what the name of that church is. If he doesn't get it, then it comes over to you, David, to guess what the name of the church is. So, right, the first one I'm going for. Are you ready? First, Simon. Simon, are you ready for?
I am.
Can you name that church? There it is, big.
I really want to say that's St. Paul's Cathedral. St. Paul's Cathedral.
You said it with conviction. He's correct. It's St. Paul's Cathedral. There we go. Fabulous.
Well
now, this one is apparently the most famous church in the world. And I did. Yeah. Right. Are you ready? David, this one's for you. Here it is, big. Can you name that church?
No.
No.
Is it?
No! I'm so excited.
Simon, we're putting it.
Can I have a guess?
Oh, go on, David. Yeah.
Is it St. Petersburg Cathedral?
No, it's not. Simon?
Is it the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona?
It is. Wow. There we are. And what an ironic name, because neither David nor me are familiar with it. It is the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. Simon, where did that come from, my friend? Right.
I don't know that because it's a church. I know it because it's Gaudi, and my wife is a massive fan of Gaudi. So we've got that on the front cover of a book. There you go.
Wow. I know what Gaudi is. It sounds like a foot infection.
An artist.
An artist, I'm presuming. Knowing Rachel is fabulous at art. Right. Are you ready for this one? Simon, this one for you. If you get this, it'll be 3-0. Are you ready? Simon, name that church.
Oh, gosh. Is that St. Peter? It's not St. Peter's Basilica, is it? No,
it's not. But you're incorrect, David. I'm passing this over to you.
The church, the Dome on the Rock one? Church on the Rock?
No, because that'd be a mosque. It is the Holy Sepulchre.
That's what I meant.
That's
the same
one. That's the one you meant. That's not the one you said, David. So you remain at 0. Hey, we play by the rules, but the rules are hard. Right, David, are you ready for this one? You should get this one. You best get this one.
No pressure.
David, name that church.
Well, I want to say Westminster Abbey because it's that big and I've been there once before and it's like that. But then that's a bit too easy.
So you're going for Westminster Abbey. David, you are incorrect. Simon?
Is it? And I'm guessing at this because I think you told me this. Is it Lichfield Cathedral?
No, it's not Lichfield Cathedral.
Can I have another guess?
That's Canterbury.
Oh, Canterbury.
I'm not sure you know that, David. That's where your boss works. He's got an office there.
He's never invited me.
Canterbury Cathedral. Canterbury Cathedral. Right. Are you ready for this one, Simon?
I am.
Why? What is that one?
That's a very good question. It's abroad.
It is abroad.
I'm going to go back to my answer of St. Peter's Basilica.
You would be correct. That is St. Peter's Basilica. Yes. Well done. Well done. Fabulous. David, you can get one right. Are you ready? Get one right. Are you ready? David, you've got to name that church.
Notre Dame?
Oh, do you know, if you gave your last answer for this one, that is Westminster.
Oh, come on.
Oh, this is not going so well.
Well, you know what? Shall I tell you why?
Hymns.
I'll tell you why, because actually there's a fundamental problem with this quiz, which is that the church is you and me.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that. Dropping some theology on us as well.
The answer.
So,
David, I disagree with you. We all know we're not the church. This is a church. But what church is it? Simon.
That is St. Petersburg Cathedral, isn't it? Whatever it's called.
I want the name of the church. It's Saint. Oh, I'm not going to tell you. It's going to go across to David. You're in the right location, but that's not what it's called.
St. Basil's.
Oh, Simon got it. We'll give him that. He's late, but we'll give it. It is St. Basil's. Check you out. Yes,
I'm quite impressed.
I've heard sometimes it needs repairing because it's quite faulty. No, that's awful.
Oh
yeah.
I'm not impressed with the inconsistency of the rules which the quiz master is using, but we did by grace.
It's sheer favouritism. That's what it is.
It is.
Favoritism.
I've just lost complete control because I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. David, are you ready for your next one?
Oh gosh, here we go.
Nikki, do not agree with David. Nikki says that she agrees with David. David, God does not need wars. Never agree with anything David says. He doesn't even know what this church is. What is that church, David?
Oh, that's Lichfield Cathedral. I got ordained there.
That is Lichfield Cathedral. I put that in there specially, hoping that you wouldn't get it. So for those watching, that is David's diocese and Lichfield Cathedral, where I think he has to go and, I don't know, take things in every month and stuff. Do you have to go there monthly for like a big meeting?
No.
It's shocking how little I know about how the way the established church in this country runs. Shocking, but not surprising for anybody. That was, you are absolutely right. That was indeed Lichfield. Right, we've got two left and then one special one. Are you ready, Simon?
I am ready.
Can you name that church?
That is Notre Dame.
I'm assuming it looks somewhat different today than there.
I think it does, but that is Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. You are absolutely right. And David, are you ready for this one?
Ready.
I've been to this one. Name that church. That's a difficult one.
Is it Yorkminster?
No, it's Salisbury.
Oh, I was going to go Salisbury. That was my second. Oh, it was Salisbury or Yorkminster.
This one. So there is no tie. I was hoping there may be a tie, so I've got a tiebreaker.
There's definitely no tie.
Our outright winner by like 10 points to 1 was most definitely Simon Evans-White. But can you name for 20 points, so you can still win 20 points, that church? Quite possibly the most famous church ever because it stormed the internet a few years back. Can you name that church? It was known as the Church of the Confused Chicken, is what it was known on online for ages. But it is actually Church by the Sea in Tampa, Florida. So there we go.
You didn't let me answer the question.
Well, you didn't know it. Did you
I
know
was
it?
going to say Church by the Sea in Florida.
Then David gets 20 points and David wins. Sorry,
David.
Simon. Sorry, Simon.
That's fair. It's fair. It's fair. I can't question the results of that. I won't be launching any kind of investigation or inquiry at all.
Well, there we are. And that, gentlemen, brings us to the end of our game of
Name
There we go. Building. Name that church. Building. Yes.
Yeah. Spot on. Awesome. Well, after the frivolity of that and the surprising number of churches that I've discovered I actually know, it's great to welcome David to be with us today. We are just thrilled to have you here. So, David, tell us, what is Creation to Crib?
Well, I guess in a nutshell, Creation to Crib is a kind of intergenerational devotional. So it's a devotional that I've put together with the aim of being accessible for basically every age and stage of faith. And it kind of came out of last year, about this time in lockdown last year. I was realizing that for me, and maybe if we're honest for many others, we rely on Sunday mornings too much for our discipleship. Which is easy to do, isn't it? It's easy for me to do that, and especially for those of us maybe with young children, it's really difficult to do stuff with family. I don't know how. I know you both got kids, and doing online church is really tough. When you're up against CBBS, it's difficult. And so I kind of thought to myself, what can I do to try and engage them? And so out of that came this devotional, which isn't just for families; it's for kind of all ages and stages, like I said. But the aim is that it's especially accessible for those of us with little e's who will find it difficult to sit down for long periods of time and talk theology. And it's aimed, as the name suggests, creation to the crib. So it takes us from the creation of the universe all the way to the crib at Bethlehem, 25 days. So that's technically not Advent, because Advent begins usually on around the 28th of November. Technically, according to the Anglican liturgical calendar.
I've been robbed of 3 days of chocolate for the first 18 years of my life of having an Advent calendar.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm not, as you know, an Anglican liturgical expert. But I have it on good authority that Advent is actually a bit longer than 25 days. But for the purposes of this book, I couldn't be bothered. So we did 25. We did 25 days, nice and easy. And that's kind of it in a nutshell, really. And I have put together quite a snazzy video that kind of sums it up in a minute and a half. That I don't know if you've managed to see that video.
I can roll that VT. We're all about the production here, right? This is indeed it.
Share with you I'm running Ephesians 4:12, and it says this. It says to equip the saints for works of service, so that the body of Christ might be built up. Who are the saints? Well, that's every single believer, right? So it's all ages, it's all stages. It includes the toddlers that can't sit still for more than 30 seconds and like nothing better than running around causing beautiful mayhem and mess. It includes those raving introverts that like nothing more than a cup of tea and to sit with their Bible for hours and just reflect and pray, and everyone in between. So out of that challenge of equipping every saint, came Creation to Crib. It's an intergenerational devotional. That means it's got things that engage with every single age and stage and type of person. You've got things to think about, you've got things to pray over, you've got things to read, you've got beautiful artwork to pray through, and lots of other stuff as well. So I'd really encourage you to join us on the journey. You can find us on the website. It's davidjamessims.co.uk/equip. You can follow us on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram. And if you sign up to our mailing list, you might even win a free copy of the book. We're hoping to publish it in the summer, ready to be launched, as it were, for Advent. So we'd love you to join us as we journey from the creation to the crib in Bethlehem.
Now, That's great. And David sent me a early PDF copy of this book, so I've seen this book, and I was having a look through. He sent it yesterday. I was having a look through yesterday evening, and the content in there, David, is just fabulous. I love the way how you handled the fall. A lot of time when I've seen through other devotional things for families, it's been very much like, oh, Satan tricked everybody. But you make it really clear that this was a choice that Adam and Eve made. And I was reading, and it follows like that. It's very sound theologically, where sometimes some other devotionals aren't. And the artwork in there is great as well. There's some fabulous illustrations. Who did the illustrations in the book?
So I've got a couple of friends who have a business called Hopefully Made, and it's a local Christian kind of ethical business where they do screen printing. And in fact, they've just moved in Shrewsbury. They've got some premises in Shrewsbury, and they're opening a coffee shop and screen printing business there. So if you're in Shrewsbury, check it out. I can't remember the address, but I know where it is. It's on the cobbled streets. Wander around Shrewsbury. It's not that big. You'll find it. And there are a couple of Christians, and their artwork is, I think, particularly prophetic. I'm not into art. I don't really get it. And so it's a real blessing to have people like that who do get it. And I really wanted part of this book to be the kind of book that actually you can spend a bit of time looking at the artwork and God will speak to you through it. And I think they've managed to achieve that really well.
I think you definitely, it really comes across as the artwork, it was soothing. So, I mean, it welcomed me into it and soothed me into it. But of course, it's not just about the way it looks. I already mentioned about a little bit of content that I read there. But there's plenty other family devotionals out there. We've got one that the kids and I read every morning, and it's a short passage. Then we pray together and talk about what we're going to do for the day. And there's so many family things out there. What is it about those ones you weren't happy with, or where did you see a gap? And why is Creation to Crib different from them, David?
Really good questions. I think there's a couple of things for me. First of all, I really wanted to make it quite solid theologically. It's like you just said. There are loads of great devotionals out there. I'm not saying I'm this wonderful person that's done a better one, but I've noticed that lots of devotionals that are aimed at families are sometimes quite kind of not dumbed down, but scoot around the edges of difficult issues. Yeah. And I really believe that actually our children deserve good theology. They might not deserve a half an hour exegetical sermon of the original Greek or Hebrew. They might, but there's still ways that we can speak to them about God and theology in a way that's accessible but solid. And so that's one of the things that I really wanted to do, and look at those tough issues like the fall, like Abraham's sacrifice of Isaac. These are in Noah's Ark. These are really tough questions that. Look at Noah's Ark. Very often it's used as a friendly story in Sunday school. But actually, when you think about it, it's really significant and quite, this is God's anger against sin. And this is, this is a big dramatic event, and we make it all fluffy and nice sometimes. And so one of the things I wanted this devotional to do was tackle those stories kind of head on and look at them theologically and solidly from that kind of evangelical approach. And the other thing that I kind of noticed is that, so I've got 3 children, 2 of them have additional needs, and one of them is disabled. And so lots of devotionals I saw were quite, highbrow isn't the word, maybe highbrow is the word. They expected a certain level of engagement from the young children. When I'm thinking of my 5-year-old, he will sit still for about a minute if you're lucky. And I thought, okay, there's not many devotionals out there that give a kind of something to do, or if it is something to do, it's something crafty to do. My 5-year-old hates craft. That's not fair. He likes cutting things up a lot and making a mess. Fair, but he doesn't, But when it comes to let's make something and craft it, he wouldn't spend ages doing that. And so I wanted part of this devotional. That's why there's a think section and a pray section and a do section. And one of those do's, for example, is go out when you're going out for your walk, find a really big stick. And when you're thinking of that big, it's just something that's easy to do, but straight away you can engage theologically with someone. And that was something that's really important to me. And finally, I think I became aware that there are lots of grown-ups that like that too. Like Messy Church, we've got a few grown-ups that come to Messy Church. They don't actually have children, but they still want to come. And sometimes there's a bit of am I allowed to come? So I wanted something that that's why I keep saying it's aimed at families, but actually, if you're someone that likes to do things and engage with things differently, that hits that spot too.
That's awesome. I have 3 young boys myself, and yeah, the idea, I don't know if this will be an encouragement or not, but my 10-year-old is still obsessed with cutting things up and making them, particularly cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
If you can just cut a cardboard box up into 1,000 different pieces,
Yeah,
that'll keep him busy for a good hour. It's brilliant.
Easy win.
Cheapest childcare I've ever done. So that sounds great. I'm so looking forward to reading through this devotional this year as well. In the process of writing all this, how did you feel God was sort of working in you and through you? What how have you grown in sort of relationship and understanding of God there? I wonder if you might be able to share that with us.
So I think kind of maybe in 2 main ways. First of all, it was amazing to be reminded that the whole story of Scripture, I think, points to Jesus and all that he did for us. And it's easy maybe on a Sunday morning or whatever, we do our Bible reading and we read from that chapter. And we know, look at the context, blah, blah, blah. But often, let's be honest, we have a sermon about this passage or about a topic with a couple of passages. And that's good. Of course it's good. But when I was kind of thinking about from creation to crib, I was reminded that actually from the beginning of the world, it says in Ephesians 1, doesn't it? From creation, maybe Ephesians 1, but from the beginning of creation, God had it in mind to adopt us into his family. This story from the beginning points to Jesus and all that he does in reconciliation for us on the cross. And to me, that was an amazing reminder that, we know that, don't we, as Christians? But actually, when you look at these Bible passages and you think, oh my goodness, there's quite a lot of passages in my devotional that are Old Testament, but they solidly point to Jesus and all that he does. And the other thing that I thought that God spoke to me about and reminded me about really was that this importance of being like a child. And so, especially as a church leader, sometimes the temptation to use big theological words to sound important. I've got a theology degree, don't you know? So I'm going to talk about perichoresis, or I still don't know what that is, but all these.
We didn't know what Maundy Thursday was, so
that's true. That's true. I'll have a word. I don't know who with. The Archbishop won't mind, but
you don't even know where he lives.
He still hasn't invited me round. This idea that actually, if we can't explain things as we would to a child, then there's a problem there. And this sense that actually, with all the wondrous stuff that God's done and his glory and greatness, that we can speak about it as you would do to a toddler. And the reverse of that the wonder that children have about things that we don't find wonderful, do I have that about God? So like sometimes when I'm praying with my 5-year-old, sometimes the prayers are awful, sometimes they're great. Often it's, what should we thank God for tonight? And Arthur says, thank God for tractors, or thank God for diggers. Which is great. And sometimes I get a bit annoyed about that. And then I'm like, actually, do I ever say, oh God, thanks for coffee? And do I mean it? You think, actually, God has created, let's take coffee. God's created this amazing thing that we love and gives, and it tastes amazing and all, blah, blah, blah. God made it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever really thought about that and ever actually given thanks for it. So that's something that God spoke to me about as well.
I love the idea of that being so accessible. We have got a God who is accessible. That's the whole thing of Easter, isn't it? This is God accessible, God on the cross, God then back to life, resurrected again accessible, a God who we can approach because of the wonderful gift Jesus gave to us, that the tearing of that temple curtain, a God who's approachable. So
Amen.
Get to him in an approachable way. David, you've told us about the book, and it's been wonderful to hear about the wonderful, unique things of the book. We wondered if possible, if you could, is there any chance you could share a bit of the passage from the book for us?
Yes. Yeah, I've got one ready. I'm going to get it up on my screen, so hopefully you can still see me.
I'm going to make you big as well.
Oh. Thanks for that, Tom. Right. So this, I thought about which page to share, and I thought as we're coming up to Easter, the devotional is Creation to Crib. It's an Advent-aimed one. You can do it any time of the year, really. But so it's not specifically aimed at Easter, but this is the passage that I just talked about in Abraham and Isaac. So I won't read out the whole Bible passage because it's a long one, but it is Genesis 22, 1-14. And it's when God tests Abraham. He calls out Abraham, Abraham. And God says these haunting words to us. He says, take your son, your only son, whom you love, go up to the land of Moriah and offer him as a sacrifice to me. And then later on, sorry if you heard that, that's my 2-year-old. Later on in the same passage, God saves and provides a lamb for the sacrifice. So that's the passage, and this is the reflection that goes with it. So I'm just finding it because I pressed the wrong button. Here we go. So there's loads of stories in the Old Testament that point to Jesus. They give us this hint of a coming Messiah. And we read them through the lens of Jesus. And when we do that, we gain a greater insight into them. And in this story, we hear of a son given as sacrifice. That's an insight into Jesus, isn't it? We have the son carrying the wood on his back up the hill. And then later in this passage, thank goodness, we have a ram caught in thorns. And we remember that later, Jesus, the Lamb of God, was to find himself wearing a crown of thorns as he was dying on the cross. And this story can make us feel uneasy. It can make us feel uncomfortable. It seems a bit unfair, almost cruel of God. But I firmly believe that we shouldn't skim over the bits of the Bible we don't like or that don't rest well with us. You see, Isaac's dad trusted in God even when things looked really bad. And right at the last minute, God provided the lamb for the sacrifice because he didn't really want Abraham to sacrifice his son. And years later, God the Son was to come as the lamb provided for us. So we can learn that we can trust our God of hope to always give us what we need. And even when we feel like we're walking uphill drudgingly, carrying the weight of the world on our back, we know that he provides. And there's a prayer after that if you'd like me to say that as well. And if you don't interrupt me, I'll say it. So here's the prayer. God, we thank you that you provided the sacrifice on the cross for our sin, that you were the lamb with the crown of thorns. Help us to honour your sacrifice in our lives. Amen. And if you bought the book, you would find a think section as well with some questions and something to do, which in this instance is walk up a hill and talk to God. And a dive deeper section where we give you some extra Bible passages to do your own work.
Well, I think that we are all going to buy that book. I'm certainly going to be getting my copy of it. So, David, how can our viewers get their hands on a copy of your book?
Oh, look at that. It's there. Doesn't that look good? The easiest way probably is to go to my website and sign up to my mailing list. And then you will be emailed a link when it's ready to be bought from my website, which will be the best value for the purchaser. And that's davidjamessims.co.uk. That's my name. So if you search davidjamessims.co.uk, that's my website. It's got a few of my sermons and stuff on there as well. So don't get confused. But if you go to, it'll come up on the homepage to subscribe to my mailing list. And I send one email every month. It's not that bad. And that will include a link to it. It'll also be available from certain online booksellers, well-known ones and also less well-known ones, but it's always best value to get it straight from me. Yeah,
definitely go check out David's website, get a subscribing email list and get yourselves
I'm also excited by it.
Yes.
so excited. So yeah, that is going to be definitely on my my purchase list when that's released.
Yeah, me definitely too. I think is what I've read of it. Even though I've got the PDF, I'm still going to buy the actual book. I could just print off the PDF and staple it together in crude fashion. David, yeah, it sounds absolutely brilliant. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to read it. It's going to be properly and actually have the books. I think it's absolutely wonderful. I love the way it's so accessible, and
Great.
it's almost like you're sat there reading it to us when you actually read the book as well. It's absolutely fabulous. David, I want to thank you so much for coming on and joining us and sharing about your exciting new book. Remind us again, when is it released?
It's going to be coming out on August the 21st. It's hopefully going to be the release day. Bit of a launch party. Look out for that on. I've got a Facebook page and Instagram and Twitter. It's Creation to Crib. So if you find out, that'll give you updates. But yeah, that'll be fun.
Brilliant. And we will stick the links to David's website into the comment section here as well, so you can go to it through that. And any other links that evolve over time, we'll stick them into this as well, in case you're watching this after that August 21 date.
Brilliant.
It's available now. You'll get it right now. Unless you're living here in the now, and then you'll have to wait a couple of months. But it gives you enough time to make sure that you do go and purchase it. David, thank you so much for coming. I want to pray for you, if that's okay. So, Lord Father, I want to lift David up to you. At home at the moment, they've increased the size of their family there as well, amongst all the busyness of trying to write this book. Lord Father, I ask that you minister to him. We lift David up to you, and we ask, Father, that you bless him in abundance over this Easter period, and may he know your closeness to him. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Yeah, it's been brilliant to have you here, David. And for all those who are viewing on YouTube, whether you're viewing live with us, whether you're watching this a little bit later down the road, it's been great to be with you as well. Hit that subscribe button. I don't know where that's going to be on my screen, so I'm going to do this. Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, where I am.
Yeah, probably over where Tom is. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so that you never miss an episode, and you won't want to miss next month's episode. Next month, we're going to have the Reverend Emily Twigg on with us, and Emily is a Baptist minister. I think is she our first Baptist that we've had on, apart from us?
No, we had Lindsay on last month.
Lindsay, of course. How could I have forgotten? I'm so sorry. Lindsay, if you're watching this, I apologize. So Emily is going to be with us. Emily works for an organization that does youth work. It's particularly focused on youth work, but uses sports as a way of engaging young people. And even I, who am the least sporty or least interested person in sports, I'm fascinated and I'm thrilled that Emily will be with us. So make sure you tune in and join us next month for Beards, Bibles and Brews. David, it's been great to have you here. Tom, it's been acceptable to spend this hour or so with you as well. Let's not get carried away, though. And
thanks so much. I've had a great time.
Friends, it's been great to be with you. God bless you all, and we'll see you next time on Beards, Bibles and Brews.